What's up, friends? Welcome back to another monthly reset routine. If you're new here, my name is Selena. I do these monthly reset routines that are heavily inspired by my friend Carter Sullivan. She's been doing them for the longest time. If you've never watched one of these reset routines, they kind of change a little bit month to month. I'm trying to find my groove. Today we're going to go over my June goals to see how I did, and then we're going to go through my goals and intentions for July. I also thought it would be fun to incorporate some of my monthly favorites. Definitely inspired by Whitney Simmons. She does like current monthly faves video, and I kind of wanted to incorporate that into my monthly reset routine. And then of course the part that I think everyone is the most interested in, which is my monthly budget, and also going over what I spent in the month of June, which honestly I'm sure is going to be a lot of money since I went on vacation in June, so keep that in mind. With all that said, I hope that you all enjoy this video. If you do enjoy this video and you want to see more monthly resets from me, make sure to give this video a thumbs up to let me know that you like it. So a large part of my monthly goals has to do with my wellness and just honestly keeping track of small habits that I want to change going into the next month. With that said, I wanted to show you guys how I use my daily planner from Papier, and if you like this journal or want to check out any of their products, make sure to use my code Selena Trevino 15 to get 15% off your first order. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, but I do have a discount code for you guys, so make sure to check that out. So I pretty much just use this like weekly overview section. I just use this section to keep track of habits because there's like a little habit tracker in here, and with that habit tracker I'm tracking like my top 5 or 6 habits that I really want to work on for that month. And regardless of what month it is, I want to start walking 30 minutes every single day. So this is kind of like my wellness and my mental health habits that I'm trying to keep up for just my own self-care. So I want to make sure that I walk 30 minutes every single day. Strength training Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or at least 3 days a week. I can always switch the days around. Read a book every single night before bed. I've been doing that. I'll get into that a little bit later, what my favorite book of June was. Drink 64 ounces of water. I've been failing at this. If you're not new to my channel, you know I struggle with drinking enough water, so I still need to add that every single month to my goals as a reminder to work on. And then taking my medications and eating at home. I'm trying to eat at home 5 days a week, no like eating out. It's really hard because it's just so convenient to get takeout or delivery, but I've been doing my best. So that's how I'm kind of tracking my habits in here. There's also like a daily to-do list, which I haven't really been using much yet, but that's because work is not very busy right now. But once work does get really busy, I'm going to be using this as my work to-do list. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys that. It's a really cute planner. They have so many options. But now, with all that said, let's get into my June goals and see how I did. So getting into the goals, 2022 for me is meant to be a year of healing, growth, and purpose, and that can mean so many things for me, and I think it can change every single month depending on what monthly goals or intentions I really want to focus on in that month. Some of my monthly goals for June, I may not have achieved them, but in my heart, because they're intentions and they're not like goals that have an end point, it's like an ongoing habit that I really want to get down, I don't see it as a bad thing if I didn't achieve it in June, because it's kind of something that I'm continuing to work on. So with that said, my goals or intentions for June were to create a morning routine. I will say that I have started doing my skincare, brushing my teeth, and everything really regularly first thing when I wake up. I always brush my teeth, just throwing that in there, but I didn't always do it like first thing when I woke up in the morning. Sometimes I'd wake up, drink water, have coffee. I know this might be disgusting to some of you, but that's just the reality of my life living with depression. I'm not always great about putting like my self-care into a routine, which is why I have to be really intentional. So I am really proud that I did do that in June. So I'm gonna check that off. And then I wanted to see a new therapist this month. I did not see a new therapist, but I am considering doing BetterHelp because I think that'll be just a lot more convenient, and I really like virtual therapy. I've done virtual therapy before, and BetterHelp just has so many great qualities. I've heard so many great things from my friends. I've worked with them before, and if you're interested in starting therapy, and if you haven't before, I have a link down below where you can get like 15% off your therapy. And also, if therapy is expensive to you and inaccessible, in addition to that discount that you can get with my code, you can also apply for financial aid with them so they can like cut down on the price. So definitely check them out if you're interested. This video is not sponsored. I'm just really passionate about mental health and just like well-being. Walk 7,000 steps on average, guys. I'm so proud of myself. I actually have been walking 30 minutes pretty much every single day for the last couple of weeks, and although it wasn't the full month of June, my average for this month is 7,000. I achieved that, so I'm very proud. Sleeping 7 hours a night, I have been doing this. What I'm not so proud about is the fact that I've been sleeping in pretty late and starting work kind of late, but it is what it is. Still achieve that goal. Uploading 2 videos a week. I believe I did that 3 out of the 4 weeks this month, so I'm gonna say yes, I did do that. Hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have not, but I am so freaking close, and honestly, when I do achieve that, you guys said that I should do a live, so I think I'm gonna do a live on Instagram just because I don't know how to do a live on YouTube, and I don't want to be having like technical difficulties when I'm really just trying to chat with you all and celebrate that big milestone in my life. So if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Selena with 2 A's Trevino, so that when we hit 20K and I have that live, we can really celebrate that moment together, and I can answer any questions that you guys have and just talk with you guys live. I think that'll be really fun. And then reading the Bible every week, doing the Bible study, which I purchased with my partner. I have not been doing that consistently, so I still want that to be like a monthly intention for me. Reading a book. I did read a book this month. I started 2 different books, but I didn't get into one of them, but I finished one by Colleen Hoover, my first Colleen Hoover book. I loved it so much, but I'll talk about it more during the monthly favorites portion of this video. My goal was really just to get a promotion at work and to invest $200. So I invested $500 in Wealthfront a couple of months ago, which was probably not the best time since we're now entering a recession. So we'll see how that goes. So far I've lost like $30 on my investment, but again, this $500 was just kind of money that was extra that I wanted to play around with. So I will be giving you all updates. So far the money is going downhill. But when you invest, you have to know that it's not a short-term thing. Like when you're investing money, you have to be willing to have that money sit there for 5, 10, 15 years. And that's why that $500 was money that I don't necessarily need month to month, and I invested that. And so far it's not doing great, but again, that's only short term, so we'll see. And I'm gonna add to the list of the books that I've read in 2022. I have a running list of books that I've read and that I want to read in 2022. I so far have read 5 books this year, and it's July, and I wanted to read 1 book per month, so as you can see, I did miss a couple of months there, but I will say I've already read a lot more books than I read in 2020, for example, so I'm proud of myself regardless. But this month I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. Oh, it was amazing. And I'm now currently reading The Kiss Quotient for July. And at the pace that I'm currently going, I might actually be able to read 2 books this month. And all of my inspiration for the books that I've been reading are from my friend Betsa. She has already read 80 books this year, and I think in the past year she's read like 160 books, something like that. It's crazy because she has a love for romance novels and all kinds of genres like psychological thrillers and stuff, but romance novels and psychological thrillers are like her bread and butter. So if you want to get any inspiration for books, or follow a page on Instagram that has like book reviews, and she's going to be making reels and stuff, you can follow her on Instagram. Her name is Betsa Reads, and her name is Betsa Reed too, like she's Puerto Rican. She's amazing. She's going to be an author one day, so you know, follow her now to get the 411 on everything. But I absolutely love her. She's a really good friend of mine, and I just trust her when it comes to anything booked. And she told me to read Verity because she like knows me and she knows I love psychological thrillers. I loved A Perfect Marriage. That book was so amazing. I loved it so much, and Verity did not disappoint. So anyway, I'm trying to see like what other subgenres of romance that I like, and she's helping me do that. So again, you should definitely follow her. So now I'm gonna work on kind of like fixing up the goals and intentions for July. All of these goals and habits and intentions that I set every single month are essentially to help me reach my overall goals that I set for 2022 during my 2022 reset. Some of them are like to reach 7,500 steps a day, to get a good morning routine and night routine down, to become a runner, to move more, to hit 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, to become a reader by reading 1 book a month, to become better about my devotionals and reading the Bible. Like, all of these goals were for 2022. So I always just make sure that my monthly goals and intentions are aligning with my yearly goals to help me achieve them overall, step by step. The only big changes were really for my financial goals. I want to pay $1,000 towards my student loans this month, and then I also want to try to make it a habit to only eat out twice per week or 2 days per week, pretty much the weekend, hopefully, but we'll see. I had sweet greens yesterday for dinner, so technically that's already eating out once, and it's not even the weekend, so we'll see. Okay, now let's get into the fun part of the video where we see how much money I spent in a month, responsibly or irresponsibly. You can all have your own opinions. I think I do my best to spend responsibly, which is why I do these monthly resets. And I know that sometimes people reach out to me and ask me, how expensive is it to live in the DC metro area? What do your monthly expenses look like? All of that will be answered in this segment. So we're gonna look at this month. So today is the last day of June, so we're gonna be looking at June spending. As you can see, I spent $4,487. So let's look at what the larger categories are. So it looks like shopping was a big category for me in June, which makes sense because I was on vacation in Miami for an entire week. So I'm sure that a lot of these transactions were in Miami or for Miami. Yeah, as you can see, a lot of these are like clothing, shopping on Amazon, things that I was getting in preparation for the trip. I don't remember exactly what each one of these are, but a lot of them were for clothing, also to do my own nails at home. I invested in all of that stuff so that I could just do my own nails at home. So it might have been a lot of money initially, but I'm sure that I'm gonna save like hundreds, if not thousands, in the long run. So the second largest category was spent on home. Home is usually the largest category because that's literally my rent and my bills and utilities, and this was the last month on my lease, so it was only $1,250 because of so essentially when I got into renting my current apartment, they had this deal where they would give you 1 month free rent, and instead of just not paying that month, I pretty much discounted like a few $100s from my rent every month. So I kind of allocated that 1 month's rent throughout my entire lease, if that makes sense. So that's why my rent is so low, because my rent is supposed to be like $1,800, but last month I only paid $1,200, and I worked it that way so that the month that I went on vacation, my rent wouldn't be so expensive. Yeah. Anyway, so that's why it's that. My food and dining was around $1,000. Again, I was eating out for every single meal while I was in Miami, and I have zero regrets. It was so much fun, and I do still tend to eat out a lot, even when I'm not in Miami. So bills and utilities, personal care, all of these things are relatively small, so I'm not really gonna get into them. But again, I say this every single month, I use Mint and I really recommend it. It's just so convenient. It breaks everything down for you into a pie chart or into a graph if you want to see it in that way. And you can easily just like click on it and you can see what your transactions were, where that money's coming from. Like, for example, for my bills and utilities, you can see, I paid for Comcast, which by the way, my Wi-Fi has increased, so that's really fun. And for energy, which is my electric bill, it was $83. And for my home insurance and for my Hulu, which maybe I should cancel my Hulu, we'll see. But honestly, I'm not too worried about my spending. Plus, I did get my promotion. So although I do want to make sure that I avoid lifestyle creep, I think that I can afford this while still saving money, while still paying down my loans. So I don't really think that there's anything to really worry about. But I'm going to add this to my expenses sheet and then we'll get into my budget. So if you look at my expenses for June, it says I spent $4,281. In May, I spent $4,832. In April, I spent $6,300 because of my taxes that I needed to pay for YouTube. In March, I paid $3,500. In February, I paid $3,200. So on average, I actually spend between $3,500 to $4,000 a month. So in June, even though I was on vacation, I still didn't spend a whole lot over my usual amount. And like you can see, there's obviously some months where it's gonna spike up, like April, because of taxes, but I had money saved up aside for that, so it didn't really hurt me financially. So anyway, this is my monthly expenses / trends spreadsheet. Now we're going to take a look at my budget for July. So my full-time job income has changed. I'm now making a little bit more, and take into account that money that I pay towards my health insurance, my retirement, my 401k, like I have a TSP fund and I also have a Roth IRA through my job, which is the federal government. About almost $1,000 gets taken out of my paycheck like bi-weekly. So that's why my net income, the amount that I actually see on my paycheck, is relatively low, because I know some of you told me last time on one of my resets that I don't make very much as an economist. I will say that I do work for the federal government, so my income may not be as high as it would be if I worked in private, but I really like working for the federal government. I love being a public servant, so I don't think that that's going to change. But also I save a lot of money every month out of my paycheck without ever even looking at or touching that money, because it's automatically withdrawn from every paycheck. So I just wanted to clarify that. But the money that I have to spend and like work with is gonna be about, let me do the calculation because I already forgot, $34.80. Additional income that I make that I usually just pay all of it towards student loans is around $400, which is from my YouTube AdSense. I say 400 because that's like after taxes. It's usually like $550 or $600 per month. So that means I have around $3,800 on average. Again, depending on my additional income from AdSense, it could be $3,800, that's like the minimum, or it could go up to $5,000 depending if I have any brand deals. But I haven't really been taking many brand deals lately. So anyway, towards my retirement, I put an additional $250 because I want to open an additional retirement fund through Fidelity so that I can have my funds through the government, and then once I retire, I'll also get my pension from the government. But then I also want to have a separate 401k through Fidelity, so I'm going to open one and pay $250 towards that, and then I'm going to pay $200 towards my emergency fund. I want to pay, let's say, like $700 towards my student loans. I need to see, because my rent is going to increase this next month since my lease did end and I had to renew it, so it's now going to be $1,800, which means that I have less money to work with for my savings. Also, again, I'm not doing any brand deals currently because it's just been a lot to handle with everything going on right now. I guess towards my emergency fund, I'll only put $100, long-term savings, $500. Health insurance, I need to take that off because I forget that it's already automatically deducted from my paycheck. So that's not going to be on there. So that makes me able to spend a little bit more money. And then let's see, fixed expenses. All of these things are fixed, so I can't really change them. But for my flexible or variable expenses, I have shopping at $200. And again, most months I might not even buy anything like clothing wise, but I tend to buy things for my house pretty often. Like last month I bought a blender, so there's that. Groceries, $150. Coffee with friends, let's say like $40. Even though I really don't go out for coffee very much anymore because I really make my coffee at home most of the time. And then fun with friends, I really don't go out with friends very often. I have like only 2 or 3 friends in the area, so I'm gonna say like $150 for fun with friends. Self-care though, I do need to get a haircut maybe this month, and I might do highlights or like dye my hair, so I'll just say like $200 for that. Date night, honestly, David has been paying for most of our eating out, so I haven't really had to pay as much. I do pay for like the tip so that we can give really big tips when we eat out, and I do still buy us food. Like last night's dinner from Sweet Greens, I paid for it, but I'm more so talking about like when we go to a restaurant, he usually pays. I will say a budget for eating out / date night be like $200. My emergency fund is well over $3,000 currently. I haven't really been saving up towards a car. I really don't think I'm going to buy a car until I decide if I'm going to move back to Oregon in a year or so, because if I do, it'll be so much smarter to buy a car in Oregon. Hopefully by then the chip supply issue will be fixed so that demand isn't just crazy high and supply is super low, which is causing these extreme prices on cars currently, and like interest rates and all all of that. It's really not smart for me to buy a car anytime soon. But if I can wait until I move back to Oregon, I can also save that additional money because they don't have taxes like sales tax in Oregon. So I could save a few $1,000s waiting until then. So it's just like not a huge priority for me currently. But towards my student loans, again, I'm gonna try to pay $1,000 towards it this month. So hopefully that'll say $1,800. But I also need to fly to Oregon next month for my cousin's wedding. So we will see. And this is why I always talk about how my budget is very much, it goes with the flow. This is really just for me to have an overview of where my money's going, especially on fixed expenses and how much money I have left over to play with. So fixed expenses is around 50% of my income. So that means I have about 50% left to work with for flexible expenses or variable expenses and my savings. So if there's ever a month where my variable expenses are much higher, I just won't save as much that month. And to me, I feel like that's a win-win because regardless, I'm always saving in my retirement. Some months my variable expenses might be really, really low. So then I have a lot more money to save. So that's just how I do my budget and how it works for me. So anyway, hope that you enjoyed this segment of the video. But now let's get into my monthly favorites. I'm so excited for this part. This is the first month that I'm gonna do this. So for this more fun part of the video, I wanted to talk about my monthly favorites. So my favorite coffee in July that I've just been loving is just to make my French press coffee like I did this morning for this video. I use freshly ground coffee beans that I buy locally here nearby, and it's amazing. I love coffee beans from Commonwealth Joe's. It's just top notch. So if you're in the DMV area, head to Commonwealth Joe's and buy yourself a bag of their, I think it's the medium roast coffee beans. Amazing. So I do that, and then I use my French press and I add some honey and some cinnamon, and it's just amazing. This is also how I would make my cold brews. Like I would just let it sit in my French press in the grounds overnight in the fridge, and then it's so strong and so good. So that's my favorite coffee of the month. My favorite shows that I watched this month are Stranger Things. The new season came out and I just had to watch it. It was so good. I'm not gonna give any spoilers in this, but I highly recommend. I feel like it's just getting better. Umbrella Academy, my boyfriend got me into that, and honestly I love it. It's really good. I love the characters. I love what they did with, I think his name is Elliot Troy. He's transgender, and I love that I got to see like the transition of them really becoming who they are and like coming into their own. And it's really awesome how this show really supported it and made it like a big part of some of the episodes, and also just showed like how people should react when someone transitions. There was a scene where, you know, the character's name was Vanya, and then they said like, my name's Victor. I've always been Victor and I want to be called Victor. And his siblings were just like, okay, cool. What's up, Victor? Like really accepting, and just like they didn't make it a big deal. Like if anyone is to make it a big deal, it should be the person transitioning that makes it a big deal, you know? And I think they did a really great job with it, in my opinion. Of course, I would love to hear your opinions in the comments if you've seen it, and if you haven't seen it yet, I guess that was a spoiler, so sorry. And then Selling Sunsets, I would say, is my guilty pleasure. My friend Giselle got me into it. I don't usually watch reality TV. It's just like not my thing. But she always like finds a show that she knows I'll enjoy, and then I start watching it. So one show that I've been watching is Selling Sunsets. I just love anything real estate or home, so it's just easy for me to get pulled into it. And then another show that I watched before this was, I think, Love on the Spectrum. So good. So good. I love it. Favorite podcast episodes. So I took a couple screenshots. So I've been listening to podcast episodes a lot more often now since I've been doing my hot girl walks every day for 30 minutes. And I think it's the perfect time to listen to a podcast. I might even start doing audiobooks, but for now I'm sticking to podcasts because, well, they're free. But not only that, I just love hearing conversations between people and learning different things. So some of the podcasts that I listen to the most are The Minimalists, Black Girl Voices. I've also started listening to Black Girls Heal and Balanced Black Girl. I just love listening to podcasts where I can learn or hear a new perspective. And obviously I'm not Black, so listening to Black women talk about really anything, but from their perspective, it's just eye-opening, and there's just so much wisdom there, and I honestly love it. So if you have any recommendations down below, let me know, but I definitely recommend those two podcasts. I also like listen to A Small Amount of Drama. It's a podcast by my friend Rachel. I will say I don't listen to every single episode, but that's true for any podcast. Like, I just don't listen to every episode. I usually look at titles and I choose, you know, which topics I think I would find the most interesting. These are the podcast episodes that I really loved in June. So my friend's podcast, A Small Amount of Drama, she did one specific episode that I just had to listen to and I loved it. Episode number 28, called Navigating Female Friendships. And she really went into, you know, her perspective, of course, because this is like mostly opinion based, I would say, about, you know, female friendships and how to navigate them, especially in adulthood, and, you know, insecurities between friendships and what it means to be someone's number one or their number two, and really like learning to accept that in adulthood, and you know what that might look like, just all kinds of stuff. I thought it was really interesting. I think I agreed with like pretty much most of what she said, but there were some things where, again, it's like based upon your own experience and your opinion, your thoughts might be a little bit different. And sometimes I think about having a podcast myself so that I can kind of react to other people's podcasts or like certain conversations or do my own take on things. Let me know down below if you'd like to see that either in a podcast or like just in videos in general. But yeah, this was a really good episode. I really recommend it. And then another one I really loved was by Black Girls Heal podcast. It was episode 143. Again, I literally looked through titles to see what might interest me. And this one was called 5 Signs You Feel Protected in a Relationship. Really, really recommend. It really helps you like dive deep and think about your relationships and whether it's healthy, whether you feel protected, and what are some signs that you are in a protected relationship. But she also went into signs that, you know, like red flags. Another episode I loved, episode number 135, Inspiration for You, Body Working, Healing, Motivation, and the Power of Inside. So again, this one was really interesting to me because it talked more like kind of like the spiritual side. I just found it really like motivating. So if you need something motivating or inspiring, check that out. Loved this episode by Balanced Black Girl called How to Nurture Your Creativity, Find Inspiration with Christina Martinez. So found that episode really enlightening. They really went into how to find creativity in all aspects of your life, whether you are creative or not, whether you find creativity as a mom, or how to inspire creativity in your children or those around you. Amazing. It was a great conversation. I really loved it. And so now I want to go into my favorite purchases because I made quite a few purchases in June, but I did have some favorites. So one of the favorites that I chose was this laptop stand that I used throughout this video. I love it, not only because it matches my aesthetic and like everything, it's very minimal, but it's very functional because not only can it like hold your laptop in a very ergonomic angle, but it also can be adjusted in height. So if you need it to be, you know, higher so that it's more eye level, you can adjust that. And I love that. That's like literally what I need because of all of my back pain. I'm sitting most of the day because of work or like editing a video. So if you don't have a laptop stand and you're looking for one, check this one out. I'll make sure to link it down below. The other favorite that I already talked about in my last video was my new Beast blender. It's just beautiful. I love it so much. I literally made a smoothie with this morning for breakfast, and it comes in like really cute colors. Like it's also in like gray and black, and I really recommend. I also bought this amazing cuticle oil. This is the cuticle oil that I've been using every single morning, just like as a part of my self-care, because it makes my cuticles just so soft and it smells amazing. So definitely recommend that. Also, the jewelry that I'm wearing right now. So these hoop earrings that I'm wearing, as well as this necklace that I'm wearing, are both from Amazon. So I highly recommend. I think they're so cute, and I've been wearing them for like a month now, almost every single day, unless sometimes I'll switch into my Ana Luisa jewelry. But these have quickly become my new favorites. I've showered with them. They've had no issues. They don't leave like a mark on my skin or anything like that. So I recommend them, and they were really affordable too. And I believe they're both sterling silver. These are plated like white gold, and they really hold up, so I recommend. I also bought this really cute black bodysuit for my trip to Miami, and I loved it. I love it so much. I wear it all the time. I don't really have to wear a bra with it, and for the most part there's no issues with like nipping or anything, so definitely recommend. It's really cute. It's a nice like basic staple to have. These were all of my monthly favorites for June, but I hope that you all enjoyed this monthly reset routine. I feel like it was a little bit more chatty than usual. It's kind of changed it up a little bit, but definitely let me know down below. Leave a comment if you liked the monthly favorite section, or what are your favorite sections in these monthly resets. Is there anything else that you'd like me to see or talk about in my monthly resets? Make sure to comment down below in the comments section. I always premiere all of my videos, but make sure to leave a comment, because if you only comment in the premiere, your message will disappear, and you know, I won't be able to take my time and give you a thorough response. Keep that in mind. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up to let me know you want to see more of these. With all that said, I'm gonna enjoy my coffee, probably get a little bit more, and if I don't see you guys in the comment section, I hope to see you all in the next video.